Jack Butelli here with Jill DeWitt.
Hello.
Welcome to our weekly call. Yeah. Take it away, Jill. Go ahead.
No, that was it. That's all I have.
Hey, we're going to try a little bit later something I came up with earlier today called "Would You Do This Deal?" And it was rooted in a call, a data/deal review call with a member because he had a bunch of properties that he's wanted to get my opinion on. So I went out and randomly chose a bunch of properties that just to run this whole kind of thing. We'll do it at around 3:30, and I would love everybody to pipe in and say, "Hell yes, I would do it." No way I would do it. Yeah, I would do it for $8,000, but not for 12, or we'll just see where it takes us.
This sounds like a fun game.
And what's going to come up is access.
I like this game. This will be really, really good. I'm waiting. I pull out a note in there. Does everybody hear us okay? Just waiting for a little update. Oh, Kathleen said, yep. Thank you very much. And Kyria, hello. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. We are good. So, what questions hey, thank you, by the way, for a few, like Kyria and the people that they saw it was my birthday yesterday.
Oh, probably on LinkedIn or something.
It was, I think it was on my Facebook page. I don't know if I have it on LinkedIn, but thank you for the awesome notes that I got yesterday. That was really, really cool. So love it. Jack, we had a good day, huh? We had a weekend of nuttiness. I'm oh good. We have some questions coming.
It's Trevor.
Oh, hi. Oh, I think that's cool. Trevor wants to know when you're going to come and go hunting.
Well, thank you for the invite, and I will let you know.
We can do that, Trevor, on Jack's birthday. That'd be a Jack birthday thing. So cool. Love it. All right, so fire away. So we're going to do our 30 minutes of all you, and then we'll do our play our game in the middle, and then we'll wrap up with whatever else Jack has for us here. So go ahead and
land investors as well. I'll announce it now. We'll do it in the middle too.
Okay.
Success Plan is now effectively land investors. If you go there right now, nothing's changed. It looks just like Success Plan, and we're updating the content. And by the time next week rolls around, it'll have a new front page on it that'll look just like a newspaper. Not just like, but like an interactive online newspaper. Like a news,
Is it going to be black and white?
A news site, and it'll have featured like all kinds of stuff. It's actually really cool. Everything to do with land. So all the news that's happening, who bought what, not specifically within our group, but like, how many acres had turnarounds, just cool stuff. Everything about land.
I like that.
And it'll give you constant updates on where to go on the products that we're releasing. So what we're trying to do is avoid, hey, when's Joe Live going to be launched? That kind of stuff.
Right.
We'll give you real-time updates there.
Can we do stuff like this too, Jack? If people approve? Anything. Like we had a call today with, is he on this call right now? I'm trying to see. No, I don't see him on this call. We had a call today with one of our members, and last I saw in Success Plant, now land investors, he had like 8 properties. And then he said, I just sold my 31st property. I'm like, that was awesome. So can we put stuff like that maybe on the?
Yeah, he said we can use her name. His name's Luke Harris. He's a member over at Seth Williams too.
Okay,
and
good.
Seth just did a show with him, or like a video interview with him, and
cool.
he just had his first year anniversary. Luke Harris did,
right,
in the business,
right, with us. I saw that.
And he's buying some huge properties. He's taking on partners and all kinds of stuff.
Cool. So Carrie said she had a duck out early last week, and we're going to go ahead with Luke's suggestion about doing a mailer from start to finish. What do you think about that, Jack?
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I'm happy to be involved and film the whole thing and all of it. I just don't want to be the head person, to the ringleader.
Oh, come on. You big chicken. Take on another project. Come on.
That's why. Because these websites like Joe Live we're almost done with. We're going to release several sites here in the next 30 days. And
Jack, all right. Come on. You know what? I saw you sleep for a whole hour last night. There was an hour we could have filled with this.
Exactly. I'll tell you what the great good news is. Jill and I just had a blowout party.
Oh.
because we had a dual birthday party, and the good news is that's over.
Yeah, that's true. That is
We
a good
started
thing.
calling it the wedding because that's about how much it cost and how much planning went into it.
Exactly.
So the party's over.
That's true. We're glad about that. All right, Mike asks, when doing due diligence, should we buy an abstract of title when there seems to be little title insurance, I'm guessing, for it? What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, so buying an abstract of title directly from a title plant and never really getting an insurance policy is a fantastic thing. Is a fantastic way to put yourself to ease your mind that there's really no conflicts or no clouds in the title, and that you don't get a title insurance policy. So it depends on what type of person you are. If you want to do these deals, the more traditional way, and don't do both. Don't get an abstract of title and title insurance. But yeah, the abstract of title themselves, the raw title, really what ends up happening when a title insurance gets title, when you close a deal with title insurance and escrow, they order an abstract of title and they view it as a title examiner, and they say, you know what, it's insurable. It passes our test. So if you don't need that extra step where it's insurable, quote unquote, then do an abstract. It's way cheaper.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Rod. It's funny. Rod asks, I want to buy several large properties from one person. Brilliant. I would like to offer him a way to buy them one at a time with a promise to buy the rest. Yeah, please expand this to me, Dad. And should I use a title company? By the way, thank you, Rod. Happy birthday, Jill.
So, Rod, this is called what I call a release. So, and I've done this many times. In fact, I think we have one going on right now where somebody has, let's say, 100 properties, or let's say 1,200 properties. Well, let's just say 12. 12 properties. And you want to buy one every month. So you go to title and yes, you should get a title policy on this. And you tell them you want to do release. So you pay for the first one. And if everything goes perfectly, you pay for the first one. They release it. You own it. You only own that one. And you sell it. And now you doubled your money. So you can buy the next one.
Buy two more.
On and on and on and on.
You could speed up the process that way too. So yeah, that's great.
So yes.
Yes. Trevor asks, access question. Good, because we're going to have some of these coming up with visuals. Access question. Have a little over 200 acres on the hook in West Texas for less than $50 an acre, but access is no bueno. In my Texas gut says no, but I can do whatever I want down to 5 acres. My gut says pass, but sales say $250 an acre.
I would do the deal and figure the access out. Or I would say, it's going to take me 60 days to figure out the access situation at the county. Can you hold on for, here's $200 seller as a good faith deposit. I really do want to do the deal. If you're sure you can get it down to 5, this is what I would call an acceptable risk situation. If you're sure you can get it down to, it's $50 an acre, it's rock bottom, and you can get it down to 5 acres, man, you're going to make just a ton of money, a ton. So that's worth, I don't know how else to say it. Trevor, how far is it? Like 40 miles from the next road? Would you have to deal with is it likely that you can get physical and legal access there pretty easily? Let us know in the chat or whatever.
Yeah. Do you know why he's doing that? You want to, Kelly, what was the name of that? It's like yellow, isn't it? The subdivision book we looked up on Amazon last week that Luke had mentioned.
I'll look it up right now.
Okay, cool. I'll do it on that.
You know what, Luke? Hey, Luke, if you have your mic ready, I promoted you as a panelist, and Luke knows all about it. He read it, or at least he read the cover. Luke, are you with us?
I read a lot of that book. Like how to draw circles and angles and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to skip those properties for now. I'm just going to stick to the square boxes and just write those kinds of legal descriptions.
What's the name of it?
Writing legal descriptions, and the author is Wattles, Wattles.
Cool. And Trevor said 1.2 miles, everyone.
Yeah, that thing. Trevor also said he got the book for like $50. I don't know where he gets his books. The same place he
Older
gets
books.
his land.
Hey, thanks, Trevor. That's awesome.
I-
Can we get one and share it?
I was going to say, who's got a photocopy machine?
Slice the binding and stick it on the machine, right?
Great. I love it. All right, so you want to answer Trevor's thing? 1.2 miles now. What do you guys think?
2 miles? I mean, there's got to be more than one route in there. Is it just all the same landowner that landlocks it, or?
If there's one owner too, and it's 1.2 miles of one landowner, like one subdivided section, non-subdivided section, I think that's not. It's worth it. I mean, here,
crazy.
Joe's going to take the next question. I'm going to do the math in this deal.
Can I stick a little something in there I've learned?
Yeah.
So I don't know about Texas. Like I haven't studied this in Texas, but New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, I mean, a lot of the places I'm usually trading land, they have like subservient properties and parent properties. I'm not going to use the right words, but you know, like the original property that these little properties came from. And so if you go back in title to whoever owned the big property that these were broken off of, in lots of those states, you can do like court stuff to get access because they're not supposed to make them without access. Like I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I'm getting lost, but if your property used to be part of the bigger property that's between you and the road, and a lot of these states, there's laws and regulations about getting access through that property out to the road, and that master property that's still part of the servant one is the one that the court basically gets you the access through. If you go do the court process on them, like Arizona and some counties in Arizona, like Apache, you just go do some paperwork with the county. And it's like $30 and you fill out the form and there you go. There's your easement. But you know, it's very location specific. So I think I would look into that too. Like if the property that is in between the one not on the road and the one that's on the road used to be used to be the same. In Trevor's case, it's probably just all sections. But even if they were owned by the same party historically, like the same ranch or the same whoever that owned the whole countryside there before they sold off the sections, it wasn't the government, you might have a case.
You know, there's got to be a way.
Well, Trevor said, screw it, I'm doing it. So that's good.
The first thing you do is just call the owner. Call the owner that's in the line and just say, or cut him in the deal.
They were all owned by the same guy, sold off as heirs. This is good. I'm liking, the more I'm hearing about it, Trevor, I like it.
Good.
And if it passes mine, just kidding. I love it. All right, you doing the math here?
Yeah.
Are we going to lose you for a half hour?
No.
Okay.
Jeez. I'm
just kidding. Any chance that Jack can open up a spreadsheet and have some fun? It's good. Do you want me to read another question?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. So Greg asks, if we target larger and more valuable properties, should our target price for mailers still be 15 to 25% of the lowest retail listings, or should our offers be higher? It makes sense to me that smaller property owners have a harder time valuing and selling their land. But if someone has a property worth $200,000 to $300,000, it seems less likely they'd be willing to sell at a large discount.
This is an incredibly intelligent question, and thank you. The answer is yes. Your thinking is correct, and I can tell you what we do, and then maybe Luke can tell you what he does. In the movie star ranch business, we look to buy property for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 and mark it up $100,000 to $200,000. So $600,000 ranch, we mark it up for $700,000, and we know we can sell it for, let's say $1 million or $1.2 million. We know the guy that we're gonna sell the property to is going to sell it for $1 million or $1.2 million because they're real familiar with the local area. So you do the math on that. It's a lot more than 15 to 25%. I don't want to even apply a percentage to it because I don't even look at it that way at that point. I just look at it as the dollar amount of money that we're going to make on the deal. And if we have to clear $100,000 on those deals. Same thing with houses. currently we only make $10,000 a house, but we never go look at the house. We never go look at the ranch. The person who's going to buy it from us does all of that and then gives us a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Mhm.
So I could guess at what the percentage is, and it's going to be closer to 70 or 80%. But don't hold me to it.
I think it's a sliding scale how many deals you want. It's the lower percentage you go, probably less deals you're going to get into, and maybe that's the place to start. Maybe the second round offers you put in your wife's name or something, and do a couple rounds and work your way up. Try different numbers, see what shapes out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Rod asks, so on the release, are you then absolutely committed to buy all the properties, and do I have control of the release dates? For instance, instead of buying one every month, I can make it every 2 or 3 months. Is there another name for this? A legal right or something like that? Or is that something different?
You can write the release. It's called a release. I call it a release. I don't know what it might be called. And if you're back east, I'm not sure at all what it's called. But you can write the deal any way you want. But make sure you put no penalty for early acquisition, because you want to advertise all of them right from the beginning. And there's a good chance if it's priced like we priced these assets, this whole group, there's a good chance you sell them all right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I just like the monthly thing. I don't know why.
I ran into one of these deals, or just did one of these deals, and use an option with a release, and as you sell the property, they could actually close with the person that I'm buying the property from, and they release me from the option by paying me the difference. They pay me to get out of the option, and then they actually, my buyer closes with my seller. I duck right out.
Nice.
One way to do it.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you're not even in it. You just take your money and run.
Yeah.
So
You
that's perfect.
have the right seller, like a sophisticated seller, and you gotta, they gotta know exactly what you're doing. And,
right.
So there's caveats in there. It doesn't work for every scenario.
Right. That's good though. It's perfect. So some of these things too, you don't know until you ask. It's interesting. We've gotten very creative over the years in some of our transactions. And as long as everybody's on the same page, it's like, okay. Right, Jack?
exactly.
Yeah. Are you ready with your numbers? I'm going to keep going.
No, the basis, it's not pretty, but it's, here's the deal. The ROI is what's staggering in this. It's not so much the dollar amount. So Trevor's got to ask himself if it's worth $40,000 to figure out how the access situation. But here's my bigger question: why, do you need access? Could you blade a road right there? Is it that kind of situation, and really work around it that way? I don't know. I don't know enough about the deal.
Will you read us the numbers for those of us like on phones that can't really see it?
Trevor said he's going to buy 200 acres for $50 an acre. So 200 times 50 is 10 grand. That's the whole cost in the deal. This is just an overview. It's not the cost to get the paper costs and all that. So his purchase price is $10,000, and he says that it sells for 250 an acre. And he only can bring the whole project down for $5 to 5-acre properties is as low as you can't subdivide into 1 acre. You can only do it down to 5. So that means his revenue's $1,250 per lot. If you do the math, it's 40 lots. So you multiply these two numbers, and your revenue on the deal is $50,000. Expenses 10, so you're making 40 grand.
So I gotta ask, if you go put 40 of those lots on the market at the same time, the way this county is splitting, do you have to do the paperwork ahead of time to split it, or can you sell what sells and then split it as it sells? Could you sell 10 acres or 40 acres or 20 acres or some whatever number the dude wants, and then just piecemeal it off as you go? Because I think that'd be a lot easier to sell the properties. You could hit the market with every size of property out there, and just keep editing your other ads as someone can tell.
These are awesome terms deals too. So if you can muster up 10 grand and you don't need it for anything else, and then now you can really charge a lot for the properties, $100 down, $100 a month. Then you're going to need roads in there and the whole thing, which
Mhm.
it's a lot less expensive to put a road in than you think.
Cool.
Somebody had a telephone pole idea. Some spikes at a telephone pole. I think it was Luke.
That was Luke. Exactly. Hey, this is cool.
One of my buyers doing that.
That's awesome.
It's my idea. Yeah.
Awesome. So welcome, Chris. I said, new to the Land Investors Group. Happy to be here. I'm having trouble choosing a state for my first mailer. I've lived in a ton of states, and I currently live in New Jersey. I see a lot of people here that are saying welcome to you. I'm doing this full time. So I'll likely be buying in more than one state eventually, but I'm at a loss for which state to start. I could start with New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but closing costs are higher here. I'm considering starting out west or down south. Any advice? Well, we all have different places that we like, and yeah.
Make it easier on yourself. Choose a state that doesn't have a prevalent attorney rule or culture about closing deals. Further west you go, the more prevalent escrow agents are versus attorneys to close transactions, and it's just make it easier on yourself. Number two, it's all about what you start with, what you think you can sell it for, and go backwards, not where you think you can buy it cheap, because you can do this anywhere. You just have to make sure that you don't pay more than you think you can sell it for. In fact, substantially less. I bet Luke's got a lot of.
Sometimes that's a good point. Sometimes, Chris, your budget's going to dictate where you start. If you're steering at $10,000 or $100,000, you're going to make different decisions in different sizes. And I'm a fan of don't put all your eggs in one basket when you're starting to get several properties in one area, get to know that area, get to know the transactions, build up your cash, and then start making some different decisions after you have 10 under your belt or whatever, you're comfortable with. And then go from there. I like David says, stay out of Colorado. Apparently David's doing very well in Colorado. So he threw that in there. So
I bet there's different sizes in Colorado too. I haven't been mailing Colorado, but I mean, it sounds like the guys are targeting 40 acres. Maybe you target 160 acres or 1 acre, quarter acre, or some other size class. And it's a totally different market.
Exactly.
I have deal review after deal review after deal review on Thursday, every Thursday, all Thursday long. And I am shocked and amazed at the overlapping of states, and yet people still get good deals. People are buying property in states that we're getting calls from. We're getting acquisition calls from like all week long in the states, in the counties that it's working. So there's a lot of sellers.
You know what I would recommend? I really would recommend, instead of like when you watch our program, don't hit. I mean, you could, but I say I don't think you want to hit the same counties that we're using in some of the examples because
no, don't do that.
Yeah, because the reason we have some examples is because we've done a lot of deals in those counties. So think outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that Jack always comes back and tells me after these deal reviews, like, this guy's over here killing it in X part of the country. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And he's like, right? He just found a little pocket of something that nobody's even thinking about. So you have the tools and you have the knowledge. You know how to look at a census map. This group, thanks to you, Jack, we're smart. You really did a good job of showing us and teaching us and sharing with us your secrets, Jack. And so use that stuff. And if you want Jack's input, then set up a time to review it with him before you push the button, or just you got this.
You're all happy today.
I am.
Giving me compliments and stuff.
Oh,
what's that all about?
I don't.
You're a year older.
Thank you.
I don't know if you should be that happy.
Oh, you know what? I threw in the towel now. Whatever. Just kidding.
That's the spirit.
No.
Here's the thing. All kidding aside, do a bunch of deals. I don't know, between 5 and 10 deals on this asset type that we all talk about. This inexpensive acreage type deal. Get your feet wet and make a bunch of mistakes and the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then try to find a specialization. The most successful people in our group, Luke included, have specialized in some way. I have call after call with people where I've never sent mail in that county before and probably never will. And I'm shocked and amazed at the number of people who are paying $35,000 or $40,000 for a piece of property, which is a little, we either do extremely expensive property or very inexpensive. And they're selling it for $140 regularly every week. So the desert 100-acre property or the $50 an acre West Texas property, that's one little specialization, and it's a great way to get your feet wet because the mistakes you're going to make aren't that costly. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to get in a car accident, right?
When you're 16 and you get a new car, that's what he's trying to do. Oh, scare everybody.
What would you say, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, just stuff like, how does it work to close a transaction, whether you're doing title or doing it through notary close? So when you talk to people about negotiating a bigger deal that means a lot more, you know what you're talking about. You're talking about from a point of power because you've done this before. You're not, well, I think I'd hire a notary and then I think maybe possibly they'll be there sometime like tomorrow when it takes a week to get you the notary there, right?
Right.
Just getting an idea of the little steps of how you're doing your business. And so as you get into bigger and better deals, you know your stuff. And you sound like you've been doing it forever, and you just bang it out. And the people don't ask questions; they just follow along, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like, well, I think maybe possibly, let me call and ask, and let me check on that. I'll be right back to you. They'll start asking all kinds of questions, like, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right.
And deals happen.
Exactly.
Take a look at your screen. Here's a deal that's in Success Plant right now. I mean, in landinvestors.com. Somebody's got 3,000 acres in Texas that they know they can split down for the same cost. And it's not West Texas. It's in a much nicer area. So the sale price per acre is closer to this. So if in the same deal as Trevor's, you had 1.5 miles to go to get roads in. This one, this large acreage deal has multiple side county road access, so there's no issue. But that's a subdivision project right there that could change your life. Granted, you're left, like Luke said, with 600 properties to sell. But if you sell them cheap enough, they're going to go pretty fast. And if you sell them on terms, it's staggering how much money you can make. You could do one deal and that's it.
And
Thank you.
You're promoting the area. You're promoting the lifestyle. You're promoting the neighborhood. You're promoting more than just the property. Like you could start doing different kinds of advertising that really sticks around. And,
That's good stuff.
You can almost hire somebody to sit there at the corner, wave a sign, and answer questions, and give tours and everything else.
Exactly.
Like totally different advertising pitch.
Cool. Jason said, I stumbled upon a huge ranch in the hill country of Texas. I'm scrambling to figure out a wholesale or partner setup. What advice on how to do the deal? I assume I can either sign the contract or set up a partner setup with an attorney. We just talked about this today, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Luke, go ahead, because I know you have a bunch of these going on right now.
Say that again. I was trying to pull up a property I wanted to put in there for the deal review thing.
Got
Is distracted by a chicken.
I was trying to figure out a partner setup on how, with a contract setup or some kind of partner setup with an attorney. What would you advise?
With an attorney. So the attorney is the money guy, or the attorney is offering services? Maybe I don't understand enough about the deal.
Well, he's asking, I'll paraphrase.
Okay.
He stumbled on a great deal. It's very large, doesn't have the cash to do it. It either does or doesn't have the money guy in place. How would you structure the deal?
Just still do another option and just do your basic option deal. I mean, even if you really want to get an attorney involved, just have the attorney draw up the option and, have it in their letterhead and name and everything on there. So it sounds super duper, but, talk to the person and tell them what you're going to do. Tell them I'm going to be your marketeer. and I specialize in this stuff, and I'm gonna get it sold. I'm gonna get you your money. I'm gonna pull it off. I'm gonna try my heart out and tell them the plan and tell them everything and sign them up. Handshake over the phone, on paper, everything. Get them all together. Make sure the person answers the phone, responds to you. So if you actually sell it, they're there to sign stuff.
All good advice. And but for a deal like that, you want to have a lot. I always joke around and say I don't like to talk to people, but you really need to have a lot of contact with the seller as much as possible.
Yeah.
When you do an option, yes.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Base, making sure they're still alive all along the way, and
Totally.
if they're going on vacation, you're the first one to know about it. You know when they're going to get back, and like you're all over it.
Exactly. All right. Juan asked, "Hi guys, I sent a 1,500 unit mailer 2 weeks ago. This was my first one. In total, I've had 17 calls come back so far. Some of the calls were hate responses, but the majority have been from people countering my offer with the retail price, right? To give you some context, I made my offers at $100 per acre in Arizona. Most of the counters are about $500 per acre. Not had anybody accept my offer price yet. My question is, if you guys negotiate the counters, or do you only accept your pricing? If you do negotiate, do you have any tips on how to bridge such a big gap in valuation? Yeah. I feel like I'm leaving money on the table with all these counters that are not amounting to acquisitions."
First of all, when you send a mailer out, 2 weeks is too soon. So when you send a mailer out, you're going to get the hate first. You're going to get the counteroffer calls second. And then over the next 2 weeks, now you're into the 4 weeks after the deal is when you're going to get some signed offers coming back in the mail. Some of those are going to be closable. Some of them aren't for title / death reasons or estate reasons. So just sit tight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty large gap, but you'll be fine.
That's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And if you really want to get in, I don't know if you want to go there. I mean, it just takes so much of your time. Usually it's one of those, my conversation is, thank you very much. I really appreciate getting back to me, but this really is my budget. Hey, and I realize you want $500 an acre, and but this is what I'm offering. And if you change your mind, hey, I'm happy to, I'm going to be here if you want to call me back in a month, or you think about it, whatever. And sometimes they will. I really have had $10,000 become $1,000 when the guy was adamant that they wouldn't go below 10,000. And it took 2 weeks, not even that. And he called me back. So you just, once you get going, two, Luke's a great, example of this too. Once you get going and you just get this into a system, you're not even going to remember back when. Like, people are going to be calling you back 6 months from now and on these offers, and you're going to have such a pipeline going. It's going to work out great. So,
yeah. Well said.
Thank you. Okay. Juan also asked, I know that you guys have mentioned that you can expect to buy 1% of the offer sent. What is your typical overall response rate? Just want to have an approximate expectation of how many calls I'll have to dig through to eventually get the gold.
I don't, I haven't really truly tracked that. I bet Luke has.
Oh yeah. What's your feeling, Luke?
We buy between about 0.5 to 1%.
Yeah.
Close.
I think 0.5 to 1% is a good call. I think when I first started out, I was over 1%. And then over time, it's kind of slid down some. Maybe I started shooting higher, like taking out higher assessed values instead of just the bottom assessed values.
Right.
And I'm still totally fine with diluting down the hit ratio if you get some bigger, wilder hits in there. So
Exactly.
It's just about the number. Like, one of those numbers is not the answer. It's just a piece of a matrix or of pieces of data. It's a lot of stuff together. Makes the numbers more useful to you than just a hit ratio.
Cool. Rick asks, "Hi guys, I've been using the Redfin map to look at some micro markets." Good. I have found a few that I like around lakes and nice water areas. I see the listings on Redfins have APN numbers as well. My question is how to build a property marketing list from these smaller areas using RealQuest. I'm still a novice at this. What is the best method? I have played with the outline map feature on RoQuest, but I'm not sure the best way to pull this small mailing list. What method in RoQuest would you use to pull this mailing list? Multiple APN search, APN number search, use the map feature and draw an outline search?
I haven't figured out how to do the map feature, draw an outline to like mixing that with a whole bunch of different parameters, like vacant land kind of parameters and use codes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a way, but it just kind of gets too complicated. The way that I've done that the best or the most accurate is just by using a zip code. Just go Google zip code map of that county and look at what zip codes they have. And lots of times the areas are cut up in the same kind of zip codes as what you want to target. Not always, but it's often pretty close. Or you can list, sometimes I'll list a dozen different zip codes in there. I don't want to hit the whole county. I just want to, hit those zip codes out of the county.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that Citus zip code or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm. Citus address. Yeah. Citus zip.
Yeah. That column is, and I think every data set I've looked at, it's populated, whereas a lot of the other data columns aren't always populated when you go county by county.
Mm-hmm.
Counties have stuff, some don't. But that one seems to be really popularly used and easy. Just look at a zip code map and there you go. Just hit that zip code. I mean, it's not going to be dead accurate street to street, but if you know what size properties that area is likely made up of, like it's a bunch of 2.5 acre properties in those neighborhoods, maybe you do 2.2 to 2.8 or something.
Exactly.
And that zip code, and you got vast majority of them are going to be that same thing.
That's a good idea. You know what, Luke? Because you think APN, and I forget to use zips. If you notice especially in Parcel Fact, you'll look at some of the details in the property information, and we all know there's not going to be a street address, but they'll often have they'll have a zip code assigned at least.
Yeah, exactly.
So this will work with the zip code, and if you don't have the APN scheme, because sometimes you literally have to go get them. Or request them and wait for it. So that's a really good idea.
If you sort your data, sometimes if you did the whole county, sometimes you'll see like some down there at the bottom that don't have zips for the location of the property.
Mm-hmm.
If you're searching by zip, they all have the zip.
Got it. That's good. I'm going to share Trevor's note. Yeah, size and subdivision too will get you awfully close. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kevin asks if there's a list somewhere of contract for deed states.
You mean versus land contract versus deed of trust? I bet you. I'm very confident there's something on Google that's pretty simple to find that.
All right, is that going to be in county-wise?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Heck yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes by state.
What I like to use is U.S. legal forms, because you can go to the real estate section and put the state in there that you're looking at, and they sort by the most popular form. It doesn't mean that's going to be the best one, but the ones that are bought the most is where I like to start looking at them. And you can get a free preview and you can read the thing without paying for it. And so you can read through it and see if that's what you're looking at, if that's what you're looking for, and if it makes sense. And then if you actually buy the form, you can delete stuff you don't want. Usually it's a lot bigger and more than you really want. Just boil it down to what you want. And that's my favorite route to go get those kinds of things.
Love it.
Right.
Do you want to pause yet and do your would you buy the steel game for a little bit?
I don't actually, because I think what we're talking about is more important, and I actually need a little bit more time to prep for it.
Okay.
I have some better, wider range properties that we all should look at and really talk about access. And when you ask yourself if a property has access and the answer is no, there's like 16 different variances of no. But sometimes you can do the deal and it's okay, but sometimes you never want to do the deal. And only experience can dictate that. So that kind of happened today on a call.
Okay.
And I want to prep enough time. So we'll do it next week.
Okay. Maybe we'll lead off with it next week?
Yeah, lead off. That's perfect.
Okay, that would be great. All right. So Mike wants to know from Luke about how you do your due diligence, Luke.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I'd like to know this too.
I usually start with just pulling the property up in Title Pro. Just pull up the location of it, just looking for location. I mean, I should be using Parcel Fact, but I'm just used to using Title Pro. And so I look at it and see if it's crazy land or what compared to the price. And then from there, I get GPS coordinates. I'll go pull it up in Google Maps, and I'll do my like 3D look around at the topography and the area and the roads and that kind of stuff, and see what kind of distance it is to some basics like a Walmart. There's always a Walmart around. I mean, that sells. I don't know how many times people call and ask, I want the property that's 16 miles to Walmart.
That's a great way to title a property.
Yeah, exactly.
I would never include the county name in it, and nobody cares about counties.
Yeah.
I would always say it's 16 miles from Walmart or 22 miles from Las Vegas or whatever.
Because everyone's heard of Walmart, right? And that's familiar and it's friendly to people that buy my low dollar price land, and that they can move across the country and they can still go shop somewhere or be next to something that they know and they're familiar with.
Right.
If there's no Walmart, I fall back to U.S. Post Office. There's one of those everywhere. A couple miles to post office or 30 miles to post office really way out there. There's your supply chain. You can still get stuff mailed to you and everything. So I look at that kind of stuff. I check the taxes, depending on what county we're talking about. I'll go to the county website and see if they got taxes on there. And a lot of the counties I work in, the website's either not accurate from experience or non-existent. And I'm calling them or I'm emailing them or whatever that county dictates to get the taxes out of them. And the same thing with the deeds, depending on what county it is. I'm pulling the deeds, as much of the deed history as I can get my hands on. I usually start with Title Pro, and then because it's cheaper, and then I'll go over to CoreLogic. If it's like nighttime or weekend or something and the county's not open, I'll go to CoreLogic and pull it up. It's like $8 or $8.50 or whatever it is there, instead of the $1.25 at Title Pro. And if they've got it, that's great. I don't have to deal with the county people. But if it's like business hours and I like to call the county people anyway, ask them questions. I just call them and start figuring out the deed. Can I get a copy? Do I have to pay? Do I have to guys mail you a check or pay over the phone, or you guys just trust me or what? Get a copy of the deed and deed history and that kind of stuff. And also I like to ask about taxes again, just double check stuff, ask them what name it's in, ask them about the legal description, ask them whatever I can, depending how nice and easy they are to talk to. And I pull that in. Sometimes I'll Google search the APN, see if it shows up on any of those nasty back tax lien lists, or see if it's listed on some old land for sale website somewhere or something, see if there's any history behind it. I'll research the market. I guess I missed that part. I usually do that before I even hear from the person that's trying to sell the land. I'll see what that kind of stuff is selling for in the marketplace and see what the cheapest junky, anything similar to it in the marketplace might be selling for, and try to see if I can buy it enough less that I can sell it less than the cheapest junky, whatever that's listed in the market.
Yeah.
I have a question for you too when Luke's done, because I want to ask. So I'm gonna ask you real quick, Luke, and I'm gonna ask Jack, then I'm gonna give my answer. So we all have one thing that we're like, oh, I'm gonna start checking that first from now on. Yeah. So what's your what's your number one thing that you always check first? And then because if it doesn't pass that test, it doesn't matter how great or how cheap it is, you're not buying it. What's yours, Luke?
Taxes. I want to get a handle on taxes, because I guess I don't think that's the killer of the deal, but it means if I got to go renegotiate with the person or not.
What's yours, Jack?
Yeah. Mine is absolutely what Parcel Fact does. It's a map.
Oh,
because the map sells everything.
Yeah.
You know, you can, let's say, so when you price it, you sit there and you say, all right, I'm going to send an offer out to every property in Arizona that's 40 acres for $4,000. Just see what comes back. The variance in property quality then dictates what I'm going to do next. Then I might check taxes. Then I might see if the owner, I'm talking to the owner, I might go on and do all that.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to the quality of the property.
You know, it's so funny. Mine is
Do they own it?
Uh-huh.
I know
That's
I know
my
that's yours.
that's my trigger is ownership. If I really got the right person, do they really own it? Is everybody alive and well? I mean, that's one of my right out of the gate things. And if they're not, then I'm like, okay, now I got to do some more work to see if I really want to do it. And can I do it? So, but this is a good question. I'm glad you asked this, Mike, because as you can see, we all have different things that we look at. But the point, you should have a checklist like I shared with everybody so you don't forget anything. Because the good news is you usually will only do it once. When the first time you forget to check taxes and you realize you buy a property and it had $500 in taxes you didn't check, you're kind of like, well, I'll remember to do that next time.
Right.
So that's really good. All right, I want to get through these other questions.
God, I can't believe it's the time that it is already.
I know. I'm like, we gotta. Let's see. Brandon asks, at one point, you talked about a different price point for Parcel Fact to compete better. I thought it did compete better with Parlay, which is $299 a year. Are there any pricing changes on the horizon for Parcel Fact?
No. Here's why. And I did review that in great detail. And Parlay is a good product if you just need GPS points. But what this does that Parlay does not do is give if you look on your screen, the assessor data right here. Mm-hmm. The previous comparison sales information, recorder information that a lot of times includes
quick claim. You saw QC, that was quick claim. Yeah. You'll learn what those little terms
are. So these are huge. I mean, within milliseconds, you get, when I just said I check a map first, when I run through once a week, I review all the deals that are on the table for us. And the first thing I do is pull up Parcel Fact and just pound them all the way through. And don't even looking at price. I just say, yep, this passes it, this passes it, this passes it. And then the second run is bleeds into the previous question. Then you can go back and negotiate some deals. You know, Jill's famous for saying there doesn't appear to have any access in this. So she does a little video or a screenshot scenario, emails it back to the seller and says, yeah, I know we offered you $5,000, but I got to tell you, after reviewing it, we love it at $1,000. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, they take the deal. Mm-hmm. So,
because often they don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I now, after playing with Parlay a little bit, it's not apples to apples comparison. What you actually get with, and here's the other thing, and I'll be real straight about it. Like 3 people a day sign up for Parcel Fact. Mm-hmm. It's staggering, and it continues to go up, and we haven't advertised it yet. Mm-hmm.
All right. Brian said, I think it's priced right. Yeah, you just signed on with Parcel Fact. Awesome. And this is for you, Jack. 2 things that would be really useful, perhaps some future iteration would be 1, the ability to download a PDF of plat maps, and 2, the ability to buy copies of recorded titles. So we have them in other areas. We just don't have them within, like they're in Title Pro.
Well, you can download
not titles in Parcel Fact.
1 second.
Okay. Hold, please.
Under all the maps, there's a download button, and you can download the JPEG. I think it is. It's not a PDF, but you don't right. PDFs are for documents anyway.
Right, but not for plat. He was saying
plat right here.
Maps.
See, it says download.
Right.
And then a plat map would be a whole. If there is a plat map, and which counties are more and more going away from. It's really the past, not the future. You can buy those plat maps on Title Pro
and CoreLogic.
You can go do that there. So it's available. And then as far as a vesting deed and stuff, you can do all that on those other products too. Mm-hmm. So we could spend a lot of time and money connecting them, but you have access to all of it anyway.
Exactly.
We are going to link this to Landpin also.
And that's the future stuff that's coming though too. Will they all be, are we going to make this even easier? Yes. So that's
Nobody signed up
coming.
for this stuff, and we were getting complaints, which we're not at all. I would make some changes, but
Okay, so user asks, I'm still not familiar with it, or maybe it's Usher and they forgot the H.
I like user.
Thank you. I'm still not too familiar with the process, but I'm having trouble finding deeds. Can't find them in Title Pro 24/7. I'll help you. And I can't find them listed in the county recorded documents. Depends on the county. Other than asking the seller directly for a copy, what are some other options? Well, you are using, okay, so, and let me go on here. Also, I do have a few very rural properties I bought, but I can't find anyone to take photos. I posted on Craigslist and tried. We go look and still can't get anyone to go out there. Any suggestions?
I wonder why.
I know.
Is it super far?
Yeah. But as far as, if you just go into, just do the property search in Title Pro 24/7 on the very upper left, APN County, click, and it brings you right to the property. And then you should have an option, a box pops up right there that you could do a property report, and that will have in there the GPS. This is how we used to have GPS before we had Parcel Fact. It was good, but it only gave us the one center point GPS because it didn't give you all the points, is why it wasn't as good as what we have now. So, but we had something back then, but you can still see, you can get ownership stuff, you can get, go through and get all the different documents, and you can go, mortgage stuff's in there. I mean, all kinds of, if it's recorded, it's in there. Plat maps, the plat map will usually print if it's in there right in that property report. So that I think is, and then like Luke does too, go back if you want to double check yourself or double check it. You can go to CoreLogic, and sometimes, there might be other stuff there. So, I hope that answers that.
If you haven't done it yet, go into the Title Pro and to RealQuest and horse around with those. Horse around with them. Spend some time in there. There's a ton of stuff in there, and I just got a pre-release email directly from CoreLogic that said they have released or they're just about to release, an existing lien report for each property in CoreLogic. So check that out.
David said, "Luke, if I understand correctly, your due diligence advice is bark, 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 bark."
There's chickens.
That's cute. I love it. That is so good.
And just ask the person that you're buying it from. Are you the one that's on title?
This is so good too. Yeah. If you can't get a hold of it, totally. I have asked them, and they don't have to mail it to me. They don't have to scan it to me. I just need to see it, and that's the thing. I just want to double check stuff. And I have literally talked little old ladies through the camera device on their telephone, I'm not kidding, and told them how to take a picture and text me the image that they just took or email it to me. And so you can get your hands on it. So, and most of them, especially the older people, they'll have them. They have a file full of stuff. So they may have to dig a little bit. We've all had those conversations where they say, hold on a moment. And they put the phone down and they're going to get their file.
I'm a huge, huge fan of asking the seller a lot of questions right in the very first phone call. Like, do you own the property?
That's mine.
Is everybody alive in the capacity where they can sign the thing?
Yeah.
Why do you want to sell it?
Yep.
What's the catch?
Where do you stand in your taxes?
What's your story? Yeah,
All
you
of
can
that.
hear it in their voice if they're trying to, pull a fast one.
Yeah.
And they're usually pretty eager to tell you too. They'll say, "Oh, Sally and I were going to retire there, and then the kids this and the kids that," and you're like, "Well, okay, I didn't need that much information," but they will.
Right.
So
Or it's about to get foreclosed on, and we got till the end of the week to pay someone, or
right.
That kind of stuff. Like, geez, glad I didn't buy it without knowing that.
Exactly.
Or does it have any debt on it? That's a great question to ask.
Have you been out there recently? Did you need a 4-wheel drive? That's not on my list, and that would be a good one though to have on a list. So I use so much nowadays with compared to when we started, right, Jack? What I can look at with Google Earth, and I can see.
Oh my gosh.
I can see the date. I know the photo really was taken 3 months ago. I have a really good idea what's going on out there.
When I started, we had we literally would review the properties on a CD-ROM set, a DVD-ROM set of all the atlases in the country. And that's how we would look. It was awful.
Mhm.
You know, we made some pretty bad decisions.
Yeah. I
But
remember
it's so
getting those
different.
big, huge rolled up plat maps.
Mhm. Right.
And that, so good stuff. All right. Anything else you want to cover, Jack?
No, I'm good. I'll be ready for it next week.
Okay.
Would you do this deal?
Okay.
It'll be fun.
I like it.
Do you have anything else, Luke?
I think that's good. Got all the questions and time's up.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. We will be here at the same time, at the same place next week. Have a good acquisition week.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.